Now, establishment Democrats are attacking Bernie Sanders over his criticism of Joe Biden's decision to back his Tom Perez for DNC chair. Now, of course, Bernie Sanders backs Keith Ellison, so they're on different sides. Now, Biden's statement last week was kind of unsurprising, as Barack Obama had already backed Tom Perez. Okay, so we knew the Biden endorsement was going to come soon anyway. Now, Biden actually said, quote, "We have a lot of good people vying for this important job, but I do think for this moment and this time, Tom Perez is our best bet to help bring the party back. I've watched him work. I think I know his heart." Again, that's a Joe Biden statement. Super Joe Biden. Disagree with him. Now, I'm not the only one that disagreed with him. So did Bernie Sanders. In response, Sanders put out a statement saying, quote, "The question is simple. Do we stay with a failed status quo approach, or do we go forward with a fundamental restructuring of the Democratic Party?" Now, I'm in favor of that. He continues, "I say we go forward and create a grassroots party which speaks for the working people and is prepared to stand up to the top 1%. That's why we have to support Keith Ellison." Now, again, I'm with Sanders on this one. I think we do need to go into a new direction, a more progressive direction. Now, of course, Perez supporters, upon hearing that, they were pissed. Their hair is on fire. In fact, one of them is actually accusing Bernie Sanders of relitigating a divisive primary. This is Gilberto Hinojosa, I believe, and he's a Texas Democratic chairman, and he said this, quote, "It is very concerning that Bernie Sanders is so intent on taking over a party that he's not even a member of. See, he's not a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. So anything that he says about the Democratic Party, completely null and void. He's not one of us. He's not one of us." Now, get this. He said, quote, "He'd insult the beloved vice president and really the president about a failed status quo approach." See, he's insulting Joe Biden by disagreeing with him. Now, look, he's not speaking. That's not Joe Biden saying that. He's trying to speak for Joe Biden. Has Joe Biden said, "You insulted me, Bernie Sanders"? No, absolutely not. Because Joe Biden actually has respect for Bernie Sanders, even though they disagree. But Hinojosa, well, obviously, he has a big problem with Bernie Sanders. How dare you insult, in his words, insult Joe Biden and Barack Obama? Well, look, it's not an insult. It actually is a good critique. Because what the Democratic Party is doing is a failed approach. I mean, look around. We have President Donald Trump. We have not only that, we have a Republican Congress, and 70% of state legislatures around the country are now under Republican control. If that is not failure, I don't know what is. That seems quite a failure, especially when the country, issue by issue, is actually more progressive. It's not like we don't have the right policies behind us. You go down list by list, right? Or issue by issue, down the list. And look, a majority of Americans support progressive policies. For example, majority of the country says don't cut Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. Why don't you raise the minimum wage? And yet, what we have is a party that's currently in power all over the country that has explicitly tried for years, decades, to cut those very programs. Those guys are the ones in power. What a monumental failure. Especially when you have the American people and all the issues on your side. And yet you can still bungle it so badly that we end up having a madman in office. That is an absolute failure of the status quo. Ridiculous. Losers. And that's the approach you want to keep going in? See, that's where I don't want to go. I actually want to win, and I actually want to have progressive policies. Now, he continues. This is coming from a man who's not even a member of our party. We lost an election, and all of a sudden, we're part of a failed status quo? You didn't just lose an election, dude. You lost a lot of elections. 2010 midterms, 2014 midterms, the Senate, the House, finally the presidency. A lot of elections, you got your ass kicked. thoroughly and completely. Because the status quo approach has absolutely failed. Now, another quote from him. When he puts Joe Biden and Tom Perez in this category and paints with a broad brush, he insults all of us. This is an election between loyal, qualified Democrats who love our party and the country. There's no need for him to lower himself to that level. Lower himself? You don't realize it. You don't see this, do you? The guy's trying to save the party. He's trying to actually get you guys to win. See, he's giving you tough love, and you're not accepting it. See, the Democratic Party right now is in some major need of some goddamn tough love. So how about you actually listen to Bernie Sanders? How about you figure out how he was able to attract so many young people, progressives, independents, the working class, and adapt your strategy instead of throwing a hissy fit whenever somebody points out that your strategy might not be working. Because it's not working. It's broken. It is a status quo approach, and it has failed. And you can go through all the state legislatures and all the different House and Senate races where the status quo approach has absolutely failed. Where people had the choice between Republican versus Republican light. Or in this last election, a right-wing populist who was saying some of the rhetoric that people wanted to hear desperately versus somebody who was an establishment status quo candidate. We see who won. And it was the Republicans. Look, Americans are tired of the establishment and establishment politics. They're tired of pro-corporate policies that only help the rich and powerful. And they're tired of the big money in politics, man. Poll after poll. Vast majority of Americans thinks that money has too much influence in our political system, in our elections. Where's the fight to get big money out? Is it in the Democrats? Certainly ain't in the Republicans. No, it's nowhere. It's absent. Both parties are too busy taking big money from giant multinational corporations. And you don't have to. There is a different way. There is a better way. Bernie Sanders showed you how. $27 at a time. You just have to listen to him. But see, Hinojosa is not going to listen because you already told us what's more important in the Democratic establishment. Loyalty. Loyalty to the party. Not loyalty to the people. Not even loyalty to the ideals that the party's been based on since FDR. No. Loyalty to the establishment. That's what they value most. See, this is why, and I know it might be controversial, you might disagree with me, but this is why I do believe in the Justice Democrats. I do believe in the mission of going out and running Democrats that are real progressives, that don't take corporate money, to go and primary these guys. Take them out of office. Kick them out. If we don't try, we won't ever win. And look, hey, if we fail, if the Justice Democrats doesn't actually work, and the Democratic Party is too far gone, then we regroup and we come up with a new strategy. We come up with a new plan. But we never stop fighting. And that's the whole point. We've got to keep fighting this loyalty to the establishment. And again, that's why I agree right now with the Justice Democrats. Because I think we need to fight. I think we need to go get them. Take over the party. And make sure that it works for us again. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.
Eventually.